Did you ever imagine waking up to a world where anger and hate are the hottest commodities? It's impossible to ignore the fire and brimstone mentality in the media right now. The charged words that bloat our social media feeds, breathing fear and hate into our minds, hijacking our consciousness. And all of it directed towards one man, Donald Trump. Trump is an oppressor. He will divide with walls and suppress our voices. We must fight him, so love Trump's hate. But what if it didn't have to be like this? A war between love and hate? What if there was a way to stand undivided, to establish balance and harmony through understanding and acceptance? What if we were able to have a true revolution of love, to love unconditionally, without qualifiers, without criterion? Because this conversation isn't really about Trump at all. It's about you. Yep, that's right. For once, it's not about Trump. Look closely, and it's clear that this conversation is actually about learning to love, specifically the people that we find it most difficult to love. Let me speak about what I mean. Every now and then, you might have scrolled through your Facebook feed and come across one of those posts about animal cruelty, perhaps with a photo of some guy beside a dead elephant he'd just poached the tusks from. Have you ever looked at the comments? This guy should be shot. He deserves to be murdered. Incensed, enraged, hateful. It's easy to see why people would feel like this. We grew up believing the idea that there's an invisible line, a dichotomy which allows us to neatly separate ourselves into us versus them, good guys versus bad guys. What we don't realise is that whatever characteristic or trait we condemn in another, it's actually a reflection of the parts of ourself we refuse to acknowledge. Has it ever occurred to you that the people making those comments are essentially no better than the poacher? That they're consenting to the same level of violence, just in a different form and towards a different target. At some point in our lives, we become scared of the parts of ourselves that we couldn't understand, and as a result, we became self-deceptive, denying and dismissing those traits. It's happening right now with Trump. In the same breath as declaring ourselves open-minded and supporters of free speech, we're condemning Trump for saying things that we don't agree with. We're pointing fingers and pushing blame elsewhere, absolving ourselves of any responsibility. This divisiveness was even present at the women's marches, where the intention seemed less to advocate women's rights, but more for some good old Trump bashing. Come on, everyone, dust off your pitchforks. When some of the stars took to the stage to speak at these marches, unity and compassion could have been the main messages that they delivered. Instead, the speeches were charged with intolerance and hostility, mirroring the very same emotions Trump is being accused of directing towards women and Muslims and other minority groups. Now, no one is slamming the marching itself. The issue here is what the intention of those marches were. What message were they communicating? The important issues of equality and humanity, which could have been conveyed loud and clear, became muddied and unclear, filtered through this hatred of Trump. It seemed like they were trying to fight fire with fire, turning Trump's own tactics against him. What they didn't realise is that in the process, the whole forest was burning. This wasn't the revolution of love Madonna declared it to be. You see, a true revolution of love is not about loving that which is already easy for you to love. It's about loving that which you find most difficult to love. It's about finding true love in the places you're adamant it never existed to begin with. It's the hardest path to take, to show love and compassion for those who we find it hardest to show love and compassion for the perceived bigots, bullies, or abusers. But revolutions are not known for being easy or effortless, right? Hitting back at Trump, insulting him and bashing him won't achieve anything. Martin Luther King Jr. isn't remembered for matching the racism and oppression he fought against with hatefulness and ignorance, is he? Love will only thrive if we take accountability and face our reality differently, if we stop pouring petrol on the fire, demonising others and painting them the villains of our stories. If we're to impact the world, we first need to transform from within, to take responsibility for how we think and act. We need to look inwards and ask, what is it that I'm being shown here? What is it that I'm supposed to learn? How can I step up and respond? How am I being asked to lead? No matter how inarticulate Trump can be, there is always going to be a truth we are intended to hear, an action we're destined to take in response, like any situation in life. There is no right or wrong in this equation. This is simply a man offering us all a golden opportunity to step up and be our own trailblazers to a world of equality, to transform the way the whole of humanity loves. He is waking us up. If we are to achieve true balance and love, we can't have selective hearing or place conditions on that love. We can't pick and choose what or who we love and hate, who or what we listen to. So the question is, will you wake up? Will you listen? Because the true revolution of love is ready. It's just waiting for you.